the sword that comes out of his mouth. Isaiah 11 and Isaiah 49 are responsible for most of the sword language in Revelation. But it's interesting, in Isaiah 11, it actually says a rod comes out of the mouth. But Revelation favors the language in Isaiah 49 where a sword comes out. And we wonder, what is it about Isaiah 49 that takes the cake? Well, it may be that Isaiah 49 is about being a light to the nations. Again, we just had the language of the menorah, of the candlesticks. And the rescue of the nations is a major topos in Revelation, a major motif. In fact, we're going to find that that's the purpose of the plagues. The plagues are not just sent to torment people. The plagues are an attempt to save people. And this sword language is used to fight against unrepentant Christians at Sardis. We'll see it used against the nations, against the kings of the earth. This is a common motif. And it's a reversal of Genesis, right? Because God made things with 10 speech acts. Right? In Revelation, the universe is being deconstructed, again, by the mouth, so that new creation can be put in its place. The Greek word used for sword refers to a Thracian broadsword, to be distinguished from the Roman short sword. So Thrace is right here. It's just north of our area of concern to where these 7 letters were sent. And this is just, this seems to be a very simple image. It's a threatening image because the Romans had this short sword and they're persecuting the church. And Jesus seems to be saying to the Romans, I carry a much larger sword in my mouth and, essentially back off the church or I will use it. It says that Jesus has the keys to death and Hades. Various divinities were depicted as possessing the keys to Hades in the ancient world, including Pluto and Persephone and Hecate. This is an image of Hecate. And so we find, again, that Revelation is taking dignities and titles away from false gods and giving them to Jesus, just as the term gospel was used of Caesar's reign and the Christians took that and gave it to Jesus. And so now language that is given to these other pagan divinities is being taken away and granted to Jesus. Now the term death and Hades is a hendiatus, right? A 2-word expression that refers to the same thing. So you think of a hendiatus like you see a pig rolling around in the mud, you say, well, he's nice and fat. Well, you don't mean he's like hospitable. You just mean he's fat, right? You say someone is dead and gone. You don't mean they're gone as in you mean they're dead, right? Sometimes we say one thing with 2 words. Well, death in Hades is a reference to Sheol, the storage place for the dead, where they wait for judgment, at which point they're placed in Gehenna. That takes place in Revelation chapter 20. We'll see death in Hades again when we encounter the 4th horseman in Revelation 6. Do not be afraid, I am the first and the last. Therefore write the things that you have seen and the things which are and the things which will take place after these things. This is just lifted from one of Yahweh's speeches in Isaiah 44, where he says that he is the first and the last. And his ontology becomes the basis for his predictive prowess. God is God, and therefore God can predict the future. And this is what Jesus is saying about himself, that his divinity is the reason he can tell the future. Yes?
Don't mean to go down a rabbit hole here, but just the references to angelic beings, it just reminds me of the shepherds. The angel comes upon them and says, fear not, I bring you good news.
Right.
I almost kind of see that correlation here. Don't be afraid. This is good news.
Right. It's interesting that happens a lot. And you contrast that with like some other religious experiences. So in Islam, Muhammad says the angel Gabriel comes to him to give him the Quran. And it's not like that. It's like he hugs him and chokes him out, for like 4 or 5 rounds. And you're like, well, what went wrong with this guy's angelic experience?
Yeah.